Very good.
Did you?
Very good.
Okay. So the first item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Someone? Okay, seconder?
I'll second it, David.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Motion passed. Is there anybody that has a conflict of interest with any of the agenda items today?
No, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much. Dawn, I guess we're down to number 4. Your
Thank you, Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I'd like to begin by thanking the committee for making themselves available for this single agenda meeting, a single item meeting. I guess I would summarize it as equal parts housekeeping and financial. Our workforce from time to time uses its own vehicles on the job. Most specifically, building inspectors who travel throughout the region to sites to do inspections, and development officers on the PRAC and variance applications, and then planners meeting with communities with respect to plans. Beyond those groups, the use of personal vehicles for businesses, more or less, I describe it as casual and by exception rather than rule. But we're in a situation now where we have not looked at the expense reimbursement rates since 2012, and at that time, the reimbursement rate was set at 41 cents per kilometer, and there's a bit of a sliding scale. So, to get to the back, and then work backwards. I'm recommending that we increase that rate to 50 cents per kilometer. And the rationale behind that is simply just following the inflation since 2012. On a cumulative basis, it represents 17%. And so what we've tried to do is to target a rate that respects that, and also it's a bit more than 17% increase, because the inflation that we're experiencing in 2021, which is not final yet, is much bigger than it has been for some time. And in fact, when I wrote this, was sort of trending around 4.1, and now is approaching 5. So the recommendation is that we adjust those rates. And when the commission started, when we didn't have a bunch of policy, all we had was a procedural bylaw. So this item was dealt with by establishing an appendix to the procedural bylaw. And so actually to change this, we have to open up the bylaw. It's a more cumbersome process. So my recommendation is that we repeal this one particular appendix and pass the draft policy that is included in your report. And it sets the rate for mileage at 50 cents per kilometer for the first 8,000 kilometers, then falls off to 45 cents. And the meals allowance is adjusted 17% of what it was in 2012, so that the per day allowance would be $65. But I think right now it's something like $7 for breakfast. It's hard to get breakfast anywhere, even in the province, for $7. So those are my recommendations. I'm happy to respond to any questions the committee members may have, and I'll rest there, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, Don. Does anybody have any questions of Don?
Mr. Chair.
Yes, go ahead, Stephen.
So I'm just reviewing the CRA's recommendations, and I see that they're at 59 cents per kilometer for the first 5,000.
Right.
And 53 thereafter. And then that's from a tax perspective. So I guess we're going at 50 cents for the first 5,000, or is the employee going to have a kind of a tax implication because we're not following those guidelines?
No, as long as we're under the threshold that the CRA sets, there's no tax implication. If we were to opt for a rate that was over the CRA level, then there would be a deemed benefit. And thank you for mentioning that, Stephen. I should let the committee know that I did check those levels when I was developing these recommendations, and specifically to try to avoid that.
And I believe the CRA, I mean, I use those levels myself for my business, and they change that every year. So I suspect this coming year it's going to go up again.
I think that's probably a fair assumption.
I know the provinces, having looked at this when we got our package, theirs is anemic.
Yes.
Anyway, the just on that note, Derek, when this Appendix C was developed, it wasn't really developed in 2013. It was adopted, and I think that was and still is a provincial rate for both mileage and meal reimbursement. So it's maybe I'm sorry.
Yes, it looks like it. Yeah, 2012, and it's 41 cents, and then for 8,000, then 38, and then 33 after 16,000.
Okay. Does anyone else have questions of Don or comments?
Seems reasonable.
Okay. What we are doing then today, Don, is we're not approving this. We're recommending that this go to the board. Is that correct?
That's correct, Mr. Chair. And the reason for the timing of this meeting is I'd like to put it on the December 7th agenda so that it can be effective January 1st of 2022.
That's fair enough.
I do have one little additional question. Is there anything that can be done now to make it less complicated to change this going forward, or increment it more, I don't know, simply, or lower it more simply, if that ever happens, which is not likely?
Yeah, I think it's a good. I think that by taking it out of the bylaw and making it a policy, that the impact of examining it is less, right? So to change the appendix in the bylaw, you have to actually repeal it and then do a new one. So it's a two-step process, whereas the policy can be updated in one step going forward. And so if we were to look at this annually, put it on our checklist to make sure it was appropriate each year, it would simply be resolution to amend policy 01 to these levels, and so I think it'd be administratively much easier.
And receive the same amount of governance, because
Right.
it's still not.
Still a board decision.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, can I ask a question?
Yes, Greg, go ahead.
Thank you. So, I mean, that's certainly an option, Don. I understand that's a great way forward. Is there also an option to put just an automatic policy-based inflation escalator in so that it's just administratively taken care of? Because
So the answer to that question is yes. We do that with what we do now with the with the honorarium that the directors get is automatically adjusted by the inflation provision that the board adopts in its annual budget.
Right.
So it didn't occur to me to do that, to take that holistic look to it. But if the committee would like to have a discussion about that now and direct staff to amend their report so that there's an automatic adjustment, we would do that.
because that
Don,
would, in my opinion, be a lighter touch, right? I mean, that's even less administrative work to
Yes.
bring to the board and bring to the, any of these committees. And I really appreciate, what you brought forward. I ran, just out of curiosity, inflation calculator on gasoline and it came out to $8.29. So your 83% was hyper accurate, even when specifically applied to gasoline. So, well done.
Well, I think that if the committee's in favor of discussing this at this point, it would be efficient because we are here, and it's been a short meeting so far. So but what are your feelings on this? Inflation.
I, for one, Peter, I like the inflationary method. It's just automatically updated by staff each year, whether it's up or down.
Yep.
And I think it's simpler that way.
Okay.
The odds of it going down are fairly slim.
Well, I understand it is, but you never know. It could happen. So.
It's in there anyhow.
Well, and I would say too, that if the governance, if us as directors and the governance side of the organization has those inflationary clauses in, why doesn't it apply across the board?
Okay. Anyone
Sure.
else have any comments? Don, you were going to respond, and my apologies.
Right, no, that's okay. I was going to make a comment then. What we will do is we will take this direction and amend our staff report with your approval to establish for 2022 in the financial policy that we begin at these levels and then add the same wording that we have in our bylaw with respect to the inflation adjuster for the director's honorariums.
That sounds good to me. So if there's any further discussion, great. If not, are we in favor with having this go to the board at the next board meeting?
I am.
Yeah.
In favor.
Okay.
Yes,
Good.
Okay. Well, I guess that takes care of that one, Don.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments or questions or whatever that anyone would like to bring up with Don at this point?
Mr. Chair, is that agenda item number 5?
Yes, it is. But I guess we've done that, right? Okay, someone sounds like they're having a rough time at this meeting. Okay, then could I have a motion for adjournment?
I so move.
Seconder?
I'll
Don't need a
second.
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 Oh, yeah. Don't need a
I
second.
don't.
That's right.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you, guys, everyone for coming out this afternoon, and look forward to meeting with you again. And thanks,
Thank
Don.
you, Mr. Chair. Thanks, Don. Have a great
Thank you.
day.